Welcome to HomeFront SitRep. I hope you're in for a great show today, because I'm just a veteran talking about what's on my mind and maybe yours.
You can find HomeFront SitRep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. You can also check out HomeFront SitRep's YouTube channel.
Buckle up, the show is starting.
Still in the fight, different battlefield, same damn life. No spotlight shining on the ones who serve, just great sacrifice and a whole lot of nerve. From small town shops to a helping hand, we're lifting each other, yeah, that's the plan. No red tape, no filter, no disguise, just truth in the fire behind our eyes. This is HomeFront SitRep, hear the call, where the real ones rise and the fallen stand tall. Every voice matters, every story's legit. We're family here, this is HomeFront SitRep. From the shadows to the spotlight we step. Yeah, this is HomeFront SitRep. From the scars we carry to the lives we reveal, from the weight of silence to the strength of will. Non-profits grinding, boots on the street, no headlines chasing, just mission complete. Veteran alone, still chasing the dream. From a mic to a message, we're building a team. Creators and fighters, yeah, we all belong. Turn the pain into purpose, turn the hurt into song. No politics, no games, no divide, just warriors standing side by side. This is HomeFront SitRep, hear the call, where the real ones rise and the fallen stand tall. Every voice matters, every story's legit. We're family here, this is HomeFront SitRep. From the shadows to the spotlight we step. Yeah, this is HomeFront SitRep. But we don't forget, we don't walk away. We carry each other through every day. From combat boots to a boss to a seat, still standing tall, still hard to defeat. Real stories, real impact, real people. This ain't just a podcast, this is a movement. This is HomeFront SitRep, loud and clear, for the ones still fighting year after year. Every voice matters, every story's legit. We're family here, this is HomeFront SitRep. Yeah, we rise, we grind, no regret. Welcome to HomeFront SitRep.
Welcome, everybody, to a Sunday edition of HomeFront SitRep. How is everybody doing? Gunny, how are you, sir?
I'm good, man. Had a great weekend so far. Started the day yesterday with going to Urbana, Ohio, to do a jump for the traveling Vietnam Wall that they had up there. Nice celebration. They had a Huey, a Cobra, and a little bird that did a flyover, all painted in the olive drab green. And then the oldest and I took off to Philly for today's jump. Got into Philly, I don't know, kind of late yesterday, but still got into Geno's. Got a nice Philly cheesesteak with the whiz, right? No onion, no cheese, just whiz. And then, got into the hotel. I crashed early, got up today, went over to go see the Rocky statue, And for the past few years, it's been at like the bottom of the steps off to the right-hand side. We get there today, it's gone. And then I look up the steps, right? The famous steps from Rocky that he runs up to and does the deal. Well, the statue is back at the top of the steps at the Philadelphia Art Museum. So got to see today, and then we jump on the north lawn. I say
we're losing
north
you.
lawn, Independence Hall. But got a private tour got a private tour. Mike and I got a private tour of Independence Hall, and then the jump happened. Now I'm on the road, so obviously my connection is horrible because I am on the road.
Man, that's awesome. No, I was looking at your pictures and stuff, and it looked like you and the kiddo had a good time up there. So that's awesome. How was the traveling? How was the traveling wall up there?
It was nice. It was not the one that you've had or the one that you're gonna have in Mount Washington. So it was one of the other ones. But they had their guest speaker was a retired colonel from the Air Force that served in Vietnam, and then they had some other Vietnam veterans in attendance that spoke as well. And but no, it was a good turnout for them. They probably had, for their opening ceremony, that I'd say they probably had about 80 to 100 people. So I mean, it's good for that community. But the Little Bird and the Huey were offering rides up until about an hour prior to the ceremony. So it was pretty cool for the people to be able to jump on one of the aircraft and take a ride.
Heck yeah, we're trying to get a Huey for the one here in Mount Washington. Trying to work out the logistics and everything. I'm hoping it comes through. I'm hoping we get it because I think that'd be pretty cool. We already have some Vietnam era vehicles like the Jeeps and stuff. They're going to be on site as well. So hopefully we can get some rides for people in the Jeeps and stuff like that. And I think there's a medical ambulance as well from Vietnam. So it's super cool. What's going on, Addie? How are you, dear? Over on TikTok World. We are back live on TikTok today. We have already got I guess because I'm streaming from YouTube, it's telling me that's unoriginal content. I'm like, bro, it's me on the screen. What the heck? But anyway. Yeah. So this weekend for me, man, super busy, bro. So I'm working all weekend because we're forced overtime last week. We're on 18 next week, so I work Saturday and Sunday today. But Friday night we went to Marine Corps Veteran Theory's album release at the WWME Hall here in Louisville. Man, phenomenal night. There were several rappers that opened up before Theory got on the stage, and then Ryan got up there and did his set. Man, it was phenomenal. Some of the new music on the new album that just released on Friday night, or actually Saturday morning, Friday night, Saturday morning, right at midnight. So if you love supporting veterans and you love hip hop music, go search Theory. That's TH30RY, and go listen to his new album, Crash Landing. It is a phenomenal album. And then yesterday, I got done with work. We were sitting here at the house. The Bullet East softball team was in the championship game. They were playing out there, 3 in the nation for state championship. Unfortunately, we did not get the dub. We lost 8-0, but still super proud of the girls for making it to the state championship. So, but other than that, man, it's been a uneventful weekend. Put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's been uneventful for me too. When we did get 2 jumps in that I was a part of, and then the team also jumped in Middletown yesterday for a Jeeps and Eats event, and then Bourbon County High School. There was a gentleman down there that put on a Flag Day celebration ceremony that we jumped for as well. So we went 4 for 4 on the weekend, which is really cool. And then
nice.
8.5 hours back from Philly to the house. Get the rental car returned. and then it's vacation mode, man. I gotta get a haircut tomorrow. I've got to finish packing. Troy gave me another to-do list of things to grab that they cannot get over there in the Netherlands. So has been watching the show, because I got a text maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. Don't worry about what you need the flags for. Just bring them, type deal.
So he's watching it when we're not. No wonder I see that in the analytics, Netherlands. I was like, I bet you that's Troy watching. So.
Yeah. So he watches it. I mean, because obviously we're 6 hours difference, right? So it's 1 o'clock in the morning over there right now. So, he's sitting there. He watches it during the day or listens to it on his drive into work in the morning.
Nice.
So he's been paying attention and listening to what I've been saying and responding to me. I'm like, man, now he knows some of the stuff that I'm bringing to him, right? So it's one of those things. But it's all right, man. It's but I'm gonna miss Tip of the Spear. I'm gonna miss a couple shows while I'm gone. But and then you're on vacation, so
yeah.
But
I can't wait, man.
This trip. Yeah, I'm excited for this trip. There's some things that Troy has told me that I'm trying to keep secret from the wife, like where our Airbnb is when we're in Normandy area. But yeah, man, I'm excited. We got some really, really cool things that we're going to do while we're over there. And obviously, Bella Wood is really close to all of our Marine hearts. So being able to go to Bella Wood and drink of the fountain of the Devil Dog, and do some of the other stuff around Bella Wood and Blue and all that stuff. I'm excited, and I'll definitely be posting photos when we go to turn in each night.
Yeah, and then you get to go fishing over there. I'm so jealous, bro. So jealous that you get to go fishing over there.
I'm beyond excited. We're going in the North Sea over there to do some fishing. Not sure what we're going to fish. I know they've got cod and some of the other North Atlantic style fish over there. But yeah, I'm excited. The weather is looking like it's going to be, I'm not going to say what it is in Kentucky today because it trouts the house. It's going to be a little overcast. The seas might be a little sporty, but dude, I'm excited just to get a line in the water and, doing it over there too. And then, coming back towards the beach and the ports and stuff in Normandy, and knowing that's the same, trek that our guys made when they stormed the beaches during World War II.
Yeah.
I'm pumped, man. Beyond. I mean, I'm not showing it, obviously. I'm very tired after this weekend's events because it's been nothing but go. But I get to relax after this. So
heck yeah, brother. No, I'm excited because we got we're off tomorrow. Then you're off on your whirlwind adventure, and then when you come back, I think I'm going on vacation. So you get to recharge this coming week, and I get to recharge the week after, and you were speaking of our Marine Corps lineage. Our guest tonight is a Marine Corps veteran who started a nonprofit. Now you don't have Echo with you, right?
No, I retired her from traveling, and she still does work at the house and around the house. She's 9 now or 10, I can't remember. So it's harder to travel with her, and then to have her out in the heat like we were today. I mean, it was showing 86 degrees in Philly, but I bet it was every bit of close to 100 with the heat index. So having her out, it's a little bit harder, and I don't want to keep her in a running vehicle, and then just her traveling right now. So yeah, she's retired from traveling, but she still, does all of her duties when I'm home. Best on, best off. But yeah, so I mean, I hate that I don't get to take her, and I don't take her, but what if she has to go to the bathroom when I have a jumper getting ready to get out of the plane, right? So I've got to keep that in mind as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. So tonight we got a service dog organization that's coming on. It's a nonprofit organization that provides trained service dogs to veterans and first responders while also promoting awareness of men's mental health issues. The organization was founded from a personal journey involving a service dog named Isaac and has grown into a mission focused on helping those dealing with PTSD, anxiety, depression, and other service related challenges. The nonprofit's name is Isaac Loves His Human, which I love. I love that name for this
Yep.
organization. I think it's super cool. Um, so um, they do veteran support, service dog, mental health advocacy, first responder wellness, peer to peer healing through animal companionship. And we've talked about your journey with Echo. How long you've had her and what she's done for you. Now we're going to hear from somebody who actually uh, created a nonprofit that's helping veterans through service dogs. So I'm super super excited to bring Leo
Heck yeah.
on. Bring Leo on here in just a minute. I think we're about ready to bring him up now. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having me. And I want to say I'm grateful for that really warm welcome. I really appreciate it. And I'm grateful to be here to share our story and some more insight that could add to the insight Sam brings to the table with his experience as well of how good service dogs are and how rewarding it is in the healing process for what they bring to the table when we can't bring it to the table for ourselves.
Yes, sir. So first thing first, we want to say thank you for
their natural instincts, right? Just as a dog alone, but when they receive that specific training for that veteran, it's unmatched and unbelievable. There's nothing that a counselor can do. There's nothing that meds can do. The loving snout of a dog is unmatched, period.
And there's that old saying, everybody thinks that their dog is the best dog in the world, and they're not wrong. But to carry that one further, I firmly believe, especially I had Isaac at my side for 7.5 years. He passed away a year ago on the 10th, last year. But anyways, I really believe and feel that these dogs understand they have a higher purpose when they get tasked as service dogs in their life. Even though the dog that's your family pet that you come home to after a hard day at work or whatever, or school, that dog can still detune the emotions and take the anxiety and the stress levels down. But those service dogs seem to understand that they're like, hey, this is a bigger calling than me just being a dog and wagging my tail, and let's get this person healing.
Yeah.
So all right, I want to say thank you from Gunny and myself for you taking your time out of your busy schedule to come hang out with us here on HomeFront SitRep. I know we've talked for a while, and I've seen you around on TikTok and all of that. And so first off, thank you and Semper Fi. Do me a favor, introduce yourself to the world of HomeFront SitRep if you don't mind.
Yep, my name is Leo Beach. I'm in my mid-50s. I'm a Marine Corps veteran, as Willis said a few minutes ago. I'm 100% permanent total disabled veteran with some stuff that we're going to unfold here today as to how my organization got started, what happened to me, and what and why my focus is on wanting to share my story with people to further advance their healing and let them know that there's healing opportunities out there. Because especially for most of us men out there, the world does not want us to heal for some reason. They don't. And all we have to do is ask for it and get past that stigma that our society shakes in front of our head every day, and we can heal. I'm living proof of it. I'm here today because I took that step, saw through that facade that our society says we can't do as a man, and I got the help that I desperately needed in my life. And it literally saved my life,
So you're talking about the challenges that you were facing before Isaac came into your life. But do you feel free and comfortable talking about those challenges?
Absolutely. Because, part of my healing journey, I hit my rock bottom in October of 2018. And Isaac was the only form of love that I had with me at the time, because with most people that deal with mental health issues, depression, anxiety, and whatnot, one of the things you tend to do is you tend to introvert and you run away from anything in your life that is good, healthy, unconditionally loving. And I was a victim of that. And again, what I said a few minutes ago with our society, the stigma that adds to it as well, just compounded my circumstances. And so part of my healing process, it took a couple of years to get to where I can talk as comfortably as we're about to about such a pretty touchy subject, and in fact, I've been told, well, I've been trying to communicate my story with people before, that I'm sorry, your message is too triggering to me and we can't continue this conversation. And again, healing isn't supposed to be all fun and, rainbows and flowers and good time. Healing is supposed to hurt. It's supposed to make you take a deep look down inside yourself and find out what you do and don't like about yourself and correct the things that you can't tolerate any longer. And none of that is beautiful. None of that is pretty. It is all ugly. It's all, it's not meant to be feeling good, but it's well worth every step you take in that direction to better yourself in that regard.
So tell us about the story of Isaac, how Isaac became.
So Isaac was actually a rescue. He went to life as a service dog to a home with a girl, with teenage age girl with special needs of some sort. That's all I know about his past, other than when they placed him within a couple of weeks, all of his down fur started falling out, like there was like an allergic reaction to the environment, or which we later discovered he did have some food allergies and whatnot, but a lot of it was environmental, because after he was in that home for a couple of weeks, going on a month, the family reached out to the kennel and said, hey, look, you gave us a defective dog. He's broken. We got to fix this dog. So they obviously went and retrieved him from the home. And when they got there, they left that evening, sending the sheriff's department for a health and wellness investigation on behalf of the state of the home, the condition of the child and the child's mother. There was a lot of domestic abuse issues going on. The father went to the jail system, after he left that environment, after they retrieved Isaac from that environment. So with that said, Isaac was in a need of a place to live and go. And my sister was affiliated with the kennel and the people involved that had Isaac. She's a veterinarian back in the Michigan area. And they reached out to her, hey, look, we've got this dog. He's got his skin looked like psoriasis almost, and like a second-degree burns in some spots where the down fur was falling out. And they were like, we don't have the resources, but we got to find out what's wrong with this poor dog. He deserves it. He's a good dog. So they got him to my sister in Michigan. He spent about 2, maybe 3 months there. They discovered a few allergies and simple things that were wrong with him physiologically. And then, they communicated behind my back, so to speak, hey, my brother's in this position. What do you think about repurposing Isaac to go live and be with my brother to help him through his demons and what he's working through in his life? And so my sister came and I went on a vacation within a couple of months of her getting the dog. And as we were on the vacation, she was like, hey, man, what do you think of this dog? Showing me pictures of Isaac. And I was like, well, it's a good looking dog, neat dog. And by the end of the weekend, she spilled and let me know that, hey, the trainers and I have been working, we're repurposing him. He's your new service dog, and you'll get him the end of next month. And so he came out. My mom and dad brought him from Michigan to Wyoming, where I live today, in July of 2018. And that was the last time I spoke to my parents with my mental health issues and fallen into my downward spiral I mentioned a few minutes ago, where I hit my rock bottom in October of 18. So Isaac and I were kind of thrown together, and, the healing was taking place at both ends of the leash at that point, because as much as I needed him, he needed me. And literally within a couple of months of being in my life, his life did a 180, and over 90% of the stuff that was wrong with him disappeared. He was taking a bunch of medications, once, twice a day. All that disappeared down to one medication. And then later on in his life with me, we found out he had some back issues, which
Mm.
he was growing bone spurs into his spinal column, which created some mobility issues and stuff. And so we had to, grow into a retirement age earlier than anticipated
Earlier,
with him. And then I had him for 7.5 years in my life, and we lost him June 10th of last year. So
yeah.
just a couple days ago, we hit our 1 year mark without him. But the healing he brought to the table and everything he brought to me, when I couldn't hold space for myself to get through what I needed to face and get through, he was there.
Yeah.
My rock bottom came in October of 18. I put a pistol in my mouth one night and was going to see what the other side of that option was going to bring me. And literally to this day, I have no clue how he got it without distracting me. I was so in the zone at that moment that night. In the adjacent room, he got up on the counter, knocked the blender off the counter, shattered the glass container for the blender, made a
Mm.
bunch of noise to get his leash off the shelf over the counter. And he came in and dropped his head with his leash in his mouth in my lap as I was getting ready to cock the hammer and see what was going to be next with that option. And it startled me and literally pulled me out of it. And I looked right at him and I was like, "You're right. We got to walk this out." And
Yeah.
we went for about a 2 hour walk that night. And when I
Mm.
came back, it was about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I had to be up for whatever my schedule was by like 4:45 that morning. I put him to bed, got into bed myself, and I felt like I had slept for the first time in forever. It's just those couple of short hours. But the next morning, the most profound things that happened in my life happened. Number one, I looked myself in the mirror and called myself out on the bullshit of 24 years of running from my demons, which will unfold here in another couple minutes. I got the help that I desperately needed, and I got the broken, lost little boy that had been running my whole adult life from my demons back in my heart, my soul, and started my healing process. And
So
because of the, go ahead.
what what was that like? I mean, here you are. You have the realization that, hey, something needs to change, right? Here the dog, because they're very intuitive. He knew that you were planning something that you probably shouldn't be doing. So he makes a lot of noise. He gets his leash, brings it in there to you, and you take a 2 hour walk. Then you come home, right? And you get to sleep, the best sleep you've ever had. And then you wake up the next morning, you're like, oh man, something's got to, change drastically.
Yeah, and what hit me first thing that next morning was what I wasn't aware of, that he was already providing the few months he was in my life, and we were still learning each other and getting to know each other's habits and making the
Mm-hmm.
bond, which is the final aspect of the trifecta of service dogs. You got to have a good dog, good training program, and then the dog and the person have to have a good bond as the end
Yeah.
result of it, or it's not going to work. So with that said, though, the next morning he was right there when I woke up. Hey, guess who's got to go outside? Hey,
Yeah.
guess who needs a bowl of food? Hey, guess who needs a top off on his water dish? Structure was there. Purpose was there. The things that I was avoiding and running away from. And as you know, as a fellow Marine, even if you came from a background where you didn't have the best home life growing up as a kid, which I grew up in a great middle class American family. My dad worked in the auto industry in Flint, Michigan. My dad's a fellow Marine as well. I had a good upbringing, but there are some things that life brought to the table that I couldn't get help for or get your help
Right.
with, and we'll break that down too. But with that said, you know I already had healing going on before I was aware of it, even though I was so disillusioned and lost and running from my demons. Isaac was right there every day, no matter how I felt, no matter if I was sick or not. You know, it was literally, I need food. I need a bathroom break. This is what you
Right.
have to do. I got to go for a walk. Well, you have to do this. You have to do this to have a living animal or other, whether it's a human or a dog or a cat or a goldfish, you got to have some input to have it successfully in your life and cohabitate with it.
Yeah.
So to move forward, I guess, do we want to get my history out of the way so we know full
This
circle,
is
or
this is your show, sir. We
okay.
talk about we talk about what you want to talk about, what you want to bring to the table.
So I'll share this then, and we'll give you guys the full picture, and it'll make more sense of why we started the charity once we get to the end. I was molested from ages 11 to 14 by a relative, and getting back to that stigma we talked about at the beginning tonight of what our society says about men. At 11 years old, I couldn't ask my Marine Corps Vietnam veteran father and mother to help me make that trauma stop, because at
Yeah.
11 years old I knew subconsciously that, hey, in a few more years you're going to be a man too. And every male role model I had in my life, good, bad, or otherwise, they all stuck to that social stigma that men don't ask for help, men don't have
Yeah.
feelings, men don't cry. And I mean, tell me half the domestic stuff we deal with in this country wouldn't exist today if men could ask for help like
Yeah.
everybody else can. So I suppressed all that, and the damage stopped about this time of the year in '84. I turned 14 the end of August that year. The following week, I started high school, and this is an example of how powerful our brain is and our mind. By the time I started high school in the end of August, I had completely blanked out every memory of the last 3.5 years of the damage and destruction of that abuse.
Yeah.
Until fast forward, I'm 24 years old. I'm at 3-5 in Camp Pendleton, good old San Mateo. And I just came home from pre-deployment leave, or came back to Camp Pendleton from pre-deployment leave, getting ready to go over to Camp Hansen and join the 31st MEU over there. And went with some of my platoon mates down to the Del Mar E Club one Friday night, and ended up meeting a young gal and making some time with her. And the last thing I consciously remember was leaving with her and going through the El Pollo Loco drive-through in Oceanside in a cab on the way to her apartment. And the next morning I woke up realizing that I had been roofied, beaten, and gang raped by 5 nefarious gang member dudes. So that's the crux of my service-connected PTSD, and why they gave me a impairment rating of 100% P&T because of all that. And it's basically, I think they said it was service aggravated childhood trauma, non-combat PTSD. How's that for a mouthful for you?
That is a mouthful.
But and I've been on a couple other podcasts since I started being able to share my story, and one of them, the Left Right Left podcast with the retired Sergeant Major Mark, and it's Chabot. I apologize, Mark. I always ruin your name, Mark Chabot or Shabbat. He's a retired Marine Corps Sergeant Major, and like I told him on his podcast too, it took a while to get to the point where I can talk and tell the story, but I have to, especially with how unique my circumstance is. And ironically, we're in Men's Mental Health Month right now.
Yeah.
And the stigma of men's mental health in this country. And like Mark said in the onset of his podcast, it's refreshing to hear it from a male's perspective, Leo, because normally what I have to tell comes from the other sex, not men. And at the end of the day, I discovered that another fellow 3-5 Marine that was there when I was there and had that happen to me had a very similar circumstance happen to him. And I found out that there was another Marine at the regimental level at 3-5 when I was there that had a similar circumstance. And I've seen a couple other stories on stuff on social media platforms and whatnot. And so I know for a fact I'm not the only one that this happened to.
Yeah,
and
I think I've heard about it. Of course, I was on the East Coast, and I think the West Coast, like I've heard about that happening a lot more because of the location. Because you're out and about, and you're San Diego area, and there's a lot more, gangs out in that area than there are in Jacksonville, North Carolina,
Right.
right? And a lot of times that's like a gang initiation for them to do something of that nature. Um, and I do apologize that you had to go through that, because I can't even fathom. Here you are, you're at a bar, you meet a young lady, she roofies you, and then you wake up and that shit happened to you. I mean, that's
In the next morning, all my childhood trauma came back to the front of my memory and
yeah,
everything. I couldn't get out of the apartment fast enough. And, so for me, and one of the things I learned with Isaac in my life, because dogs are a constant reminder of what you and I are supposed to be doing in this human condition, that when we get trapped in this little thing and the brokenness that the ego creates in our life,
yeah,
it gets us away from this. And what we were born into this human condition with was nothing, no ego, no conscience. We had nothing but a heart filled with happiness, joy, and love. And everything else in the human condition is manifested through our environment and learned behavior,
yeah,
and our ego controls that. And there's a conflict between our ego and our heart and our soul every day. Every choice we make, every thought we have that conflict consciously every day, and it crosses cultures too. The Native American cultures believe that this is the struggle between the light and the dark wolf within each man, and the way you resolve it is the winner is who you feed the most,
yeah,
and so again, this stuff is true. And we were born into this human condition all the same way, with the heart filled with happiness, joy, and love. And dogs are a constant reminder of what you and I are supposed to do with the way they conduct themselves every day. They don't judge, they don't you know, have any kind of ill feeling towards you. I mean, you get up to go to the bathroom and they think it's a party, and they
yeah.
want to go with
They
you.
want to ride with you. Yeah,
And what I manifested out of that was I boiled it down to the 3 L's. And it's simply this: love unconditionally, live in the present, and live selflessly for who and what you love. Dogs do that. The only time a dog doesn't do that is when it's asleep.
yeah,
And
yeah,
how is that not a perfect reminder of what our job and purpose as human beings on this earth is?
yeah.
So with that kind of a logic, and because I'll interject this too. I've tried everything. I didn't just stop at seeing a psychologist at the VA. I tried everything. I've worked with a Reiki master, still do. I meditate. I work with a psychologist. I, have a friend and life mentor that I talk with, because obviously as human beings, we're a social organism. We're not designed to be alone. And as no matter what you got going on, it always helps to talk to somebody, no matter
Oh
what
yeah,
it is, if it's personal, if it's work related, if it's about your spouse or your family life. If you could talk to somebody and find the right person to talk to that's going to
yeah,
listen unbiasedly, like that dog reminding us again, you're supposed to love unconditionally. And
yeah,
unfortunately, our society tends to make us follow this, and we want to listen to respond. And I got to one up you while you're telling me about your bad experience. I got to try and one up you instead of listening to you and offering something constructive for you,
yeah.
or even just sitting there and shutting up and listening to you.
Yeah, that's something we talk about here on this podcast all the time, is be someone's stranger. When you're out and about and you see somebody looks like they're having a bad day, go up to them, ask them how they're doing. And if they
Yep.
give you the red flags, I'm okay, I'm hanging there, I'm living a dream, ask the next hard question. How are you really doing? And then sit there and listen. Don't try to fix, because a lot of times we just want to get it out.
Exactly.
And that's what we talk about. And that's one of our shirts, be someone's stranger, because that's so powerful when you look at it, because you made reference to it. We as humans, we're more apt to talk to a complete stranger than the ones we love the most. Like, my wife, I will tell you, we've been together for 23 years, actually probably almost 24 years, and she didn't learn a lot of stuff about me until I started this podcast, like stuff that I went through, like my childhood trauma. um a lot of that didn't resurface until I started talking about my story, not just my military story, but my story of how I grew up. And you just have to listen, and that's what's wrong with the world today, right? And I love that you're talking about, your dog being there to helping you and healing you when you didn't even know you needed the healing. So I didn't start my VA journey until 22. I had a boxer. She was a rescue as well. We got her from Central Danville Boxer Rescue. When they found her, she had no hair on her body. Um, she was not trained as a service dog, but I will tell you, for me as a veteran, I love bigger dogs. I don't like small dogs. We have 2 small dogs upstairs. I love them to death, but I'll never get small dogs ever again. Um, this boxer, I could be having the worst day possible, and I'll come home from work, I'll sit down, and first thing she's laying on my feet. She's grounded me to the floor and
Yep.
saying, "Daddy, I'm here. I got you." And she was, dude, she was the and Imma say this, and I just because 'cause I'm partial, I'm biased, she was the best dog ever because she never barked unless I was roughhousing with her, playing around with her. She protected the kids. My 2 daughters at the time were very young in age. I could let her out the front door and leave the front door open, no fences in my property. She would go out, use the restroom, and come right back in. She wouldn't run off. Um, she was just she was just the best dog, and literally, if my legs were bouncing, she would come up, and she would put her paws on my legs, and she would just sit there, and I would make me love on her pretty much, and it's and dogs like horses, because I don't know if Doc is still in here right now or not, but he was in here just a minute ago. Horses are very intuitive too when it comes to that bond that you make, because when you and a horse or you and a dog, you share your heartbeats sync, and
Yep.
that's where a lot of the healing takes place. And I don't care if you're sitting there, you're grooming your dog, or you're grooming the horse, or you're out walking the dog, or you're walking with the horse, around an obstacle course. That's where the healing takes place, and a lot of people don't understand that. And you made a point where you said that dogs love you unconditionally, and that's what we're supposed to do as humans. But here's the thing: dogs will love you unconditionally, even if you're terrible to them. If you're a terrible pet parent, that dog is still going to love you unconditionally.
Yep. They
Now,
don't have that ego.
right, and there are some humans out here, and I hate to say it, but there are some humans out here that should never have pets, right? Because we've seen the ASPC commercials and all of that. There's some people that should not have pets, period. So it's just one of those things, man. Dogs are amazing. Sam will tell you, Echo, his service dog, um, has been phenomenal for him. If Doc was still in here, he would tell you about Boomer, his service dog. And Boomer was another golden retriever. He was an amazing dog as well. So, all right. So this is one of the questions I do want to ask. Looking back, all right, you're a year out from having Isaac with you, right? Do you feel like you rescued Isaac as much as he rescued you?
No way. He rescued me exponentially more than I rescued him.
Okay.
And I mean, and I and I and I don't say that lightly, even though I did, because as you know, if a dog is special needs, like I said a few minutes ago, Isaac developed some back issues in his spine, which created mobility issues. And at 5 years old, he was starting to struggle with that. And by the time he was 8, 9 years old, he was 10 when he died. And again, it just compounded the aging process in that poor dog. And if he would have been at the wrong home with the wrong family and the wrong person, he wouldn't have got the care that he received, and they probably would have put a needle in his leg to
Yeah.
save him and all that. When
Yeah.
I was investing all kinds of resources and, financially, as well as my sister was helping me with stuff. We were doing everything we could medically in the veterinary world to make his life the best. I mean, I had him getting acupuncture treatments, hydrotherapy, and things like that, that were all just like in human medicine. There's stuff
Yeah.
that's, good and healthy for different things that afflict us. And again, I did provide healing and salvation that he needed in his life from how his life started out. Case in point, when I started the whole organization, Isaac and I reached out to Take Flight Dog Training out of Cookeville, Tennessee. The gal that owns that, she was working for another organization at the time in Cookeville, but they trained my Isaac.
Mm.
Going on, he would have turned 11 in this past April, but they trained Isaac. And so when I got the idea through my healing journey to start the organization, I reached out to Jessica and I was like, "Hey, look, I know it's been a minute, but you trained Isaac. I want to give away Isaacs. Can you help me do that? Can you help me make more Isaacs?" And like she said, she was like, Isaac was unique. Isaac was different, but yeah, I want to get on board because I'm in love with what I sent her our mission statement and all that. And I said, this is what we want to do. Will you help us? And literally a day later, we were having a conversation of, all right, when are we getting started? And just like the dog came to the table with unconditional love in my healing process, Jessica and her company and organization came unconditionally with love to our organization to partner with us to help us raise and train dogs. We currently don't have any dogs in training right now. We had 3 dogs up until this last year that unfortunately all 3 of them didn't make the training program for various reasons or other. One of them now is since January this year came to live with me because in the last year and a half we could not adopt him out as a family pet to save our lives through the
Oh
board
man.
members. But so I have Tyler, who's going to be 3 in August, living here just as a pet with me. And one of the things I'm trying to navigate, it's been a year now, a year and a couple of days that Isaac hasn't been with me after 7.5 years, which I have good days, I have bad days, just like, mental health, depression, and PTSD. You never get over it. It's going to be here forever. But I
Yeah.
used to tell people I walked around with an empty toolbox. And after October of 18, when I started getting the help that I desperately needed, I got a full toolbox that I carry around these days
Yeah.
that I can course correct. And when thoughts or feelings come around, I can correct them. Whereas Isaac was there in the past to correct a lot of those, especially out in public, because I always had that you looking over your shoulder like I just got released on parole kind of feeling when especially in a crowd. And immediately the first day he was with me, Isaac took that away from me. That anxiety went away
Mm.
immediately. And last year, when I lost him, by the end of the summer, I had been attending our local farmers market on Friday afternoons. And by the end of the summer, it got to where after 30, 45 minutes of being in that crowd, I had to look for an escape route and I had to
Yeah.
get away from it because I'd look down and know Isaac. And I'm kind of in an experimental phase right now because some people have a service dog for part of their life and heal enough to where they can stand on their own without one for the rest of their life, and other people
Right.
have to have another one sooner than later or get one before they lose the first one. Like Gunny said, he's retiring his dog from traveling right now because of her age and health issues and all that stuff. And I'm sure there's probably going to be another dog getting groomed to take her place before they lose her in the
No, I
family.
don't. I don't think Gunny's getting a replacement dog. Uh, I think we've talked about it a time or two. He has other dogs there in the house, and of course, he's going to have Echo until she's no longer here with us. But
Right.
I don't think he's going to get another service dog because he stays. He travels a buttload with Team Fast Tracks, which is a professional skydive company. So he travels all over the country with those guys, and having a service dog uh, he's at a point in his life where he doesn't need another service dog. Um, Kind of like what you were talking about. He's at that point where he knows his triggers, he knows what to do. His
Hmm.
toolbox is full. I mean, he's got
Yeah.
his toolbox is super full. It's overflowing with tools. And that's where, uh, you know, it sounds like you're still you got a full toolbox, but it still sounds like you're at that
I
point where you still need a service dog,
yeah,
not for all the time, but for some of the time.
and what I'm kind of looking at and experimenting with and banking on now that I've got Tyler, because again, what healing, one podcast I was on and I didn't have an answer for him. He caught me off guard, but after reflecting on it, I've come up with a good solid answer. He asked me what healing looked like today, what healing looks like. And again, like I mentioned earlier, um, healing looks like structure, discipline, you know, things to do, getting tasks on a list and getting them done and completed. The things that, as you and I learned from boot camp, and like I was starting to say earlier, even if you didn't come from the best upbringing or background, when you hit the Marine Corps, at least in the enlisted side, the Marine Corps grew you up into a correct adult. And all the voids that were missing from your childhood were filled all of a sudden. And I mean, we had to learn how to balance a checkbook for the first MCI we did.
Yep.
And again, even though some Marines still fell for the 32% credit or interest rate on the 82 Z28 outside the gate, but again, we were growing up and thrown into adulthood, and the reason I'm bringing that up is I want to remind that I knew this whole time that I was in this process of falling and standing myself back up. I've always known what to do. I've always known how to be a man. The Marine Corps taught me that, just like it taught you. But yet my depression and everything, and walking around with that empty toolbox for so long, I forgot all about those basics of how to be a man. Even though they were burned into our soul in the Marine Corps boot camp, and plus having a Vietnam veteran Marine as a father, do you think I got away with much growing up? Not too much, and again, at the end of the day, we have choices and decisions to make every day, and we can make good choices or bad choices. And when you get something like mental health coming in to monkey it up with like PTSD, depression, anxiety, and again, it's all flavors. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I'm not a battlefield combat veteran, so I don't ever want to take anything away from the guys that earn their PTSD in that regard. Compared to my story is completely way off a different angle than everything that we've been hearing in commonplace in the last 20 years,
right,
from what our military has been doing, of course, and again, but the story still needs to get told because it has merit. And at the end of the day, for the same reason I started this charity with Isaac, we want to let people know that there's an opportunity to heal. Healing is available. You just have to take that god awful first step and look yourself in the mirror and say, I don't like what I see. I need to change. I ran for 24 years from age 24 to 48 years old till I hit my rock bottom. And I lost everything. At 48 years old, when I hit my rock bottom, I was worse off financially than I was at 17 walking out of high school. And I was single my whole life, no children, no significant other, no spouse. I worked in the oil field, made crazy, stupid money. And because of the poor choices I was making and how I was broken mentally, I got nothing to show for that today. And I'm not saying that to have people go, woe is me, and have a pity party. It's a reality. And like you said earlier, and I'm grateful for the understanding and seeing it, but I'm not at a struggle anymore with what happened to me in my past, because you wouldn't be talking to the 2.0 version of Leo Beach that you're talking to today without all that and all that experience. And I had to go through that darkness and that struggle to get the reaffirmed life understanding that I have now. And the biggest thing I took away from it too is I know what my purpose is on this earth, and it's to do what we're doing right now and to share my story to help other people get out of their darkness that they're stuck in, especially the men that, as we know, are struggling beyond measure because society says, shut your mouth, pack it down extra deep, put your hat on and go out the door to work and don't say a word to anybody,
I struggle with that now. Like I'm 40. I'm like you. I'm getting ready to be 48 in July, and uh, it's still hard. Now I see a therapist. I see a therapist twice a month. Um, and you know, of course, doing podcasts is my therapy as well, but asking for help, and I'm not just talking about just help with mental health stuff. I'm talking about just asking for help in general. I do not like asking for help, and my wife, I will tell you. So I went down my rabbit hole early in life. I got married. I got married early in the Marine Corps. I was 21 or 22 at the time. Um, Married a semi-local chick to Camp Lejeune. Her dad was in the Army. He was stationed at Fort Bragg. He retired. What's going on, Chris? How are you, sir? Um, he was stationed at Fort Bragg. Then he got a job in Jacksonville. They moved to Jacksonville. And so that's where I met her there. And I didn't listen to the people. You know, I didn't listen to my sergeant major, my first sergeant. I didn't listen to any of those. They're like, don't marry a local. Don't go shacking up with a local. Uh, so I didn't listen. Me and her dated for a year and a half. And if you know anything about infantry, even though you're stateside, you're 7 days in the field, then you're back for the weekend, then you're gone for 11 days, and then you're back in. So out of that year and a half, I was probably with her maybe 4 months out of that year and a half, right? And I'm like, "Oh, let's get married, let's do it," you know? So we got married to the Justice of the Peace. Uh, I brought her home to Kentucky for, Thanksgiving that year. So we got married October 1st. I brought her home for Thanksgiving that year. Um, when we were heading back to North Carolina, she goes, "I'm never coming back to Kentucky." So I knew right then and there that it was kinda already over with, 'cause I didn't know what my plan was, but my family's here, right? So I was gonna come back and visit or whatnot. And we go back, I get ready to go to deployment to Bridgeport. I think was it my second trip to my second trip to Bridgeport, and I'm there at Bridgeport. We talk on the phone, you know, do the long distance stuff because where we're at, and I come back a day early on the events party. I get back, do all the things I need to do on base, get in my car. She doesn't know I'm back. I stop at the flyer shop, stop at the liquor store, drive down to the road. I pass my buddy's house, and as soon as I passed my buddy's house, I got that gut feeling something wasn't right, right? So I pulled down our street, gut feeling was getting stronger. I pulled into my driveway, open up the front door. I hear music playing in the back bedroom. So I walked down to the hallway to the back bedroom. The door was cracked. I saw her riding another man. I just dropped the flyers in the bottle of liquor I had, turned around, walked out the door, went up to my buddy's house, who I went to high school with, him and his wife I went to high school with. His wife opened the door. She goes, "David, I got something to tell you." I was like, "No, you don't. I just caught her." She goes, "Yeah, she's been cheating on you the whole time." And I was like, "What do you mean the whole time? The whole time I was gone or the whole time we've been together?" She goes, "The whole time you've been together." I was
Oh,
like, "And
man.
you let me marry her?" And they're like, "Well, we didn't want to interrupt your relationship." I was like, "You should have told me." Right? So I went down that rabbit hole. I'm from Kentucky. I drink bourbon, or I used to drink bourbon. And I started drinking a fifth of whiskey a night, fifth of bourbon a night. And it my chain of command said, "Hey, something's wrong. It's affecting your job." So they sent me to detox. I went through detox for 60 days. I was one of the lucky ones. I didn't get busted down in rank. I didn't get an NJP. Just went to detox. After that, I didn't touch alcohol for 15 years. Um, I had my first car, 97 Ford Aspire, 23% APR. I didn't know no better. I didn't know any better. Um, but I will tell you, my current wife, Julie, my forever wife, when I met her, she had a good head on her shoulders. Um, she turned my credit from 0 to where it is now. We have 2 beautiful daughters. I still struggle. Like I literally still struggle. We were Memorial Day. We were at our baseball team and softball team were in the regional tournaments, and then so we went to a doubleheader. We went to baseball first, and then we went to the softball. And I will tell you, without the wife knowing, she didn't know it intentionally doing it, but I was nervous. Like, I was sitting there, my legs were, shaking, and she just reached over and she touched me and she calmed my nerves, right? She does that without even knowing she's doing it. And I'm lucky that I have that, and that's where a service dog like Isaac comes into play. They sense that and they come over. They'll just first they'll nudge you with their nose.
Yeah,
And then and if you don't respond, then they'll put their paw on you. And if that don't get your attention, then they're up in your lap. Hey, I'm here, so
and then after a year or so of having that bond, it was almost like, and I'm sure it's the same with your wife as well, that it's almost like the intuitiveness of that action manifests even faster and quicker. Like you said, before you even knew what was going on,
yeah,
there's a hand on your knee, and that anxiety is settling down,
yeah,
and again, and that grows exponentially the longer the two of you are together as well,
yeah,
and getting back to a lot of the, like I said, I've chosen all the different methods of healing to explore in my healing process, and a lot of the alternative methods out there. I was at a spiritual retreat, and Isaac was so in tune that not only did he come and check on me after a meditation session during that retreat, he went around and checked on everybody else in the room.
yeah,
Like you said, nose in the hand, paw on the lap, just to make sure everybody else was good.
yeah,
And again, it's the three L's, like we talked earlier, that that is what's bringing that out, because
yeah,
science has taught us that we're all energy, and energy doesn't die. It just manifests into some different form. Like when we leave our meat suit that we're in right now, our energy, our soul is going to go somewhere,
yeah,
and whether we say it's the biblical golden pearly gates in heaven that we're going to go to, or if we're going to go into this universe to some higher collective of energy, that's what God is. I don't know that. I haven't died yet. I haven't left this condition. I'll find
right,
out one day. And again, something happens to our energy. We just don't die when we leave this human form.
right,
And that energy is together, and that energy knows it. Good energy, positive energy clings to good positive energy. Bad lower vibrational energy clings to lower vibrational energy. And
right,
psychology has proven this to us too, because Western psychology has measured what frequency all human emotions resonate at. And happiness, joy, and love, the stuff that we're born with that doesn't come from the broken ego,
right,
starts out at over 430 hertz of frequency and goes up from there. All other human emotions that come from our ego and our experiences, they don't even break 170 hertz frequency.
yeah,
So, and what has science taught us about vibrational energy? An earthquake can rip these granite mountains next door to me here in
yep,
town down. It could tear skyscrapers down. There's power behind that energy. So science has proven to us that unconditional love, happiness, and joy can kick the dog snot out of every other human emotion, because it's that much more powerful in vibrational energy.
yeah,
And dogs understand that energy just like a horse does, because just like you've ever seen a dog in a house where it's chasing a fly in the room, but
yep,
there's no fly in the room.
yeah,
That's a spirit or some form of energy messing with that dog in that room. And
yeah,
look what it does to you. You and I have been conditioned through this that ghosts aren't real, spirits aren't real, but yet you're going for the next hour and a half looking for the damn fly in the room and getting mad at the dog because why do you keep looking at that fly? I can't hear it. I can't see it. Where is it? Well, it's
right,
not a fly. It's just something you can't see because you've been trained not to believe in it or see it.
yeah,
And again, dogs don't have, just like you said earlier, they don't judge, they don't have any preconceived notions about anything. They just love. Even like you said, you can mishandle a dog and mistreat a dog, and that dog will still love you, you
yeah.
know. but look at the gift it gives you when you love that dog unconditionally back.
Oh yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and just like any other aspect of any other interaction we have as humans on this earth with other human beings, whether it's a work relationship, a friendship, a significant other, a marriage, if you don't have that understanding and that bond from here, everything else is going to be a fight coming from here. And it's
Yeah.
going to end up in misery and anxiety and hurt feelings, and nobody's going to be happy and calm. And in my own experience, having that dog in my life, as long as I had Isaac in my life, I got things back in my life like calm and patience, and I could sleep at night. Things that I completely forgot about in my self-destructive behaviors and running from those demons for 24 years. Because as you know, the Marine Corps taught us how to be highly functioning, extremely proficient alcoholics.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes,
I
sir.
used drugs and alcohol for 24 years to avoid facing my problems.
Yeah.
And it cost me everything. I mean, I was working in the oil field towards the end of it before 2018. And then from about 2016 to 2018, I was self-employed doing rental maintenance in the college town I live in, losing jobs left and right because I couldn't get my ass out of bed to go finish a job.
Mm,
You know,
mm.
and I mean, it's like, why are you setting yourself up for failure, idiot? You know?
Yeah.
But again, the mental health and the depression and the PTSD is that powerful if we allow it to be and take us away from our heart and our soul.
Yeah.
And to me, it was the best thing that I could have done for myself, even though it's the hardest thing. Well, I take that back. It's tied with what I could say is the hardest thing. A couple of months ago, I finally had a heart to heart with my mother to tell her the complete history of my past and what happened to me in the Marine Corps. Because I initially decided that we won't tell mom because she doesn't need to have any heartache about her sister's family and what her nephew did to me, et cetera, et
Right.
cetera, and a lot of the other ugliness that came out of that family history because it was discovered that their father molested one of the neighbor kids for 4 or 5 years around the same time I was getting damaged by his son, and so initially I was like, yeah, we're not going to tell mom about this. And then my one sister pointed out to me that, hey, what if she finds out about it through the internet or the family or whatever? And sure enough, a couple of months ago, my mom reached out to my sister and was like, hey, I was talking to a relative and they said this happened, something happened in Leo's childhood. Was it your father and I? And now my mind had to focus and shift from let's protect mom from the ugliness of our family's past to now I got to let mom know that her and dad did absolutely nothing to me raising me in their household as my parents.
Right. Right.
And alongside of looking myself in the mirror back in October of 18 and calling myself out on the bullshit of running from demons for 24 years, having that conversation with my mom was right up there with those two are tied neck and neck for the hardest thing I've ever done as a man on this earth.
Oh, I
Um,
can only fathom how hard that conversation was. Uh, because it's mom, you know what I'm saying? And then in your situation, dad too, being a Marine, Vietnam era. Yeah, that
Well,
I
I got a little scapegoat with dad. My dad unfortunately has dementia pretty good these days, so we have not had any conversation with dad
I got you.
regarding other than dad knows I'm a 100% disabled veteran,
I
and
got you.
I'm out here in Wyoming and I'm currently working, getting back to healing. I'm currently working on promoting the charity and finding any and all opportunities I can to talk and share my story. Because as we've discussed, it's got a powerful message behind it, and
Yeah,
our brothers and sisters deserve to hear it, especially if they're hiding from something similar in their past to what happened to me.
yeah,
Especially as you know, a lot of these injuries, there's no physical proof of them.
yeah,
Because they're behind our eyes. And again, I'm working on trying to get a photography business off the ground. I've had a lifelong dream. In fact, they used to jokingly call me Combat Camera at 3.5 back in the day because everywhere we went, I had my little Kodak Instamatic 35 millimeter and a
nice.
little sky blue padded bag on my 782 gear, and What the hell's that damn bag you got out of your gear? Oh, it's a camera, Staff Sergeant. Yeah, okay. Well,
Why you got
take
the
good
camera
pictures.
for?
And of course they all gave me shit about it back then. But then fast forward to these days, I post pictures on the social media and all that, and it's like, hey, remember this day? Remember when we did this? And oh man, I wish I had a camera back then, and
Yeah, right.
but I was never. I was so damaged that all these years, case in point, I got hurt in the oil field back in 2008 and ended up getting like 50 or 60 grand from workman's comp because they gave me a 4% permanent partial impairment rating, disability rating, because I got my hand crushed and don't have all the strength I used to have in it anymore. And I received some money, and I caught myself up and I bought a bunch of camera stuff, and to include, I spent like $700 at the time getting the um, uh, Photoshop software that you had to buy and upload the DVD onto your computer. If I opened that up 3 times back then to use it, try and learn how to edit an image, that was about it. And I just never had the focus, drive, and wherewithal to see anything through start to finish until I got myself on the healing road and started healing myself. And, I went through homelessness. Like I said earlier, I lost everything in 2018. A lot of well, that was one of the good things. A lot of the relationships I lost were the hang around acquaintances that weren't there for any benefit for you. They were there to benefit themselves and
Yeah.
would disappear on their own anyway when your usefulness in their life was done. But they all disappeared immediately, so that made life a lot easier. But then there was all the other stigmas, and like I went through all the recourse of, oh, the embarrassment. How did you, a grown man, a Marine no less, let that happen to you on a Friday night? And all that kind of bullshit that our ego tries to run, and
Right.
like it's trying to help you out,
Well,
and
you also had that stigma that couldn't happen to a male. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
You always hear that, like, a female. They're always, oh, a female can't rape a male. Yes, they can. I mean, roofie works both ways. It doesn't say, oh, well, this is a male. I can't react to his
I've
body the same way. So
I've had 2 women tell me when they started hearing my story that I need to shut my mouth because exactly what you said, that doesn't happen to men. You're bullshitting us. You're lying. Shut up. Quit trying to steal somebody else's thunder from a
yeah,
woman that had that happen to her. And then the other one I had an Army veteran that I am acquainted with through some other mutual people here in town that tried to tell me that I don't rate my disability because, again, he's a combat veteran and all that stuff, has a Purple Heart. And, because I don't, he seems to think that, I don't deserve and rate what the VA offers me for help and healing,
I hate that. So that's another thing that we've talked about in the veteran community that goes on is combat vet versus non-combat vet. How the combat vets, oh, well, you don't rate 100% because you wasn't in combat. Trauma is trauma, no matter where you get it. Um, a lot of my PTSD and moral injury stems from my stint in Haiti. I was there for 3 months, and the shit that I seen in Haiti, I don't wish on any man, especially a 17, 18-year-old fresh out of the United States for the first time.
I,
And
I was there. I was there on a mission trip in 2014. I know the
okay,
neighborhood.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I was there in 99, I believe. I was either 98 or 99. I'd have to look back at my service record, but 98 or 99. And the stuff that I seen then, of course, the government had fell at one point. Then we rebuilt the government. Then it fell again. That's why we were there. We were doing a humanitarian slash security for the combat engineers and stuff. And then Gunny went back in 2004, and it was worse in 2004 than it was in 2000 or 99. And it's just one of those things, man. That irks me because
Yeah.
you'll hear in a minute when I do my end, because we're getting close to being on the end of the show. Some of the things that I say, and one of the things I say is this right here. Matter of fact, I'll just go ahead and say it. Um, this right here. The uniform might come off, but the bond remains, and together, that's the key word. Together we heal. together we rise, and together we carry each other forward. If we as veterans say, "Oh, well, you're not a combat vet, so your service don't matter," or "Hey, you're a pogue, your service doesn't matter." No,
Yeah.
because me as an infantry guy, I couldn't do my job if I didn't have my radio guy. I couldn't do my job if I didn't have motor T. I couldn't do my job if I didn't have my admin because I'd never get paid. So, even though
And
there's
and and if you fell off a truck in Camp Pendleton and broke your back in a training evolution, it's the same broken back as if you fell off a truck in Iraq.
right,
You know,
right,
and again, falling off a truck and breaking your back isn't getting your arm blown off by an IED or something like that.
yeah,
So just because it was in theater, that makes a difference. But again, I want to say this before we run out of time too. With what happened to me in the Marine Corps, I am still very proud to be a Marine veteran today. And, I wanted to join the Marine Corps ever since I was a little kid. And at 17, when I graduated high school, my father was sitting there with the recruiter at his kitchen table, and he told me, "I'll sign this so you can go right now before you turn 18 at the end of the summer. But you have to find a new home to come home to on leave because you won't be welcome at my dinner table." And I
mm,
waited till I was 23 years old and failed out of the University of Michigan, um, to go to the Marine Corps and chase my lifelong dream to become a Marine. And I have no regrets. I have no ill feelings toward the Marine Corps. My experience, even as dark as it was back in '94, I do not have any regrets of being a Marine and being able to stand here today and tell you my story confidently, like we've been doing tonight, to be able to help other people heal and get themselves in order to where they can have a good, productive life and enough calm in their heart and their soul that they can sleep good at night.
yeah. So I'm gonna put your contact information in this tip the spear group that we have, which is a bunch of different veteran podcasters. I'm gonna put your information in there so they can reach out to you and say, "Hey, we want you on our show." I just put the link up here, isaacloveshishuman.org. You guys, if you're watching this now or if you're listening to it later, go check out the website, go donate, help Leo here continue his mission of healing. I mean, it's that's what it is. He created this nonprofit to help give service dogs to veterans and first responders out there that need it. So go check out isaacloveshishuman.org. Um, whether you want to volunteer, whether you want to donate money, whatever, get involved and help Leo continue his mission of healing himself, and then also help him heal our brothers and sisters in arms out there.
And one thing I learned too, I've been to some seminars and stuff regarding service dog placement with veterans in a charitable fashion. And the one thing I learned a few years ago, back in 23, we were at a conference in DC, and the one guest spent his whole career in the philanthropy world doing charitable fundraising for organizations and stuff like that. And the one thing he said that kind of stuck with me, and I'm determined to change that with our organization and spread the word to fellow veteran organizations. When you put the V word into your organization and state that you're out there looking to help veterans, unfortunately, in the charitable industry in this country, it takes you from the millions of dollars of donation potential down to the hundreds and thousands of dollars of donation
Yep.
potential. That's another stigma we need to change. And again, like you said, we heal together.
Yeah.
And all of our veteran communities need to be aware of that in the giving industry in this country so that we can correct that and don't get me wrong, I'm glad we got people out there trying to save the whales and different types of owls and all that, but we need to save our species too. And to say that because we're supporting a veteran organization, you only deserve the bottom of the barrel of the donations instead of the penultimate,
Yeah.
that's wrong, and that's got to get corrected. And
Yeah.
the
I,
only
I
way we're
would
gonna
I would agree with you 100%. The big three, and I'm not going to say no names, but the big three veteran service organizations out there, they bring in, the millions and millions of dollars. But the mom and pop grassroots nonprofits like you and Montana Warriors on the Water and Project Hope down in Florida. There's several. You guys are out here doing everything that you need to do, and you still care about us as veterans. Where a lot of the bigger nonprofits, they see us as numbers. They see money. You know, the smaller nonprofits, the mom and pops that have to go out here and fundraise and get the money to continue their mission, because it takes money to run an organization.
It does. It
And
takes
people,
money. On that note, a finished service dog, you start with a 12-week-old puppy, and 2.5, 3 years later, depending on what it's specifically trained for the individual needs of the recipient, that's close to a $60,000 investment.
yeah,
But right around there, and even more if it's trained to do other unique things, like they've got dogs that can smell if you're going to have a seizure, stuff like
yeah,
that. That's
medical
closer.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah, that's closer to like a $90,000 dog. And again, these dogs are not cheap, and it costs money every day to have a dog. Even in a training program, it's $30 a day just to house and feed the dog before
Yeah.
any training takes place, before any vet bills get factored in, before any baths or grooming or anything. Just to feed and let that dog have a place to sleep is like $35 a day
Yeah.
times 3 years.
Yes,
That's-
sir.
And
Well,
again,
we are
I-
cutting. We're cutting the time, brother.
all right, I appreciate. I'm grateful for the opportunity, and let's do this again, because
Oh, yeah, for sure.
we need to keep
Yeah.
comms open and tell
Yeah,
this
for
story
sure.
as much as we can.
Well, I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to put your information into the TOTS group, and we'll get you on other shows as well. And then I'm definitely want to have you back on, because I want to talk more about Isaac Loves His Humans, because we when we follow up, I want to talk about how you choose the dogs that you get, the training that they go through.
The whole process.
There's
Sure.
yeah.
Yep.
So there's things that I want to talk about, because tonight was about you and your story. So when we come back, when we bring you back, we're going to talk about the organization.
The organization specifically.
So we'll talk
Perfect,
more about
perfect.
that.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I want to say thank you. I know Gunny had to drop out because he went through a storm and he just lost service. He sent me a video via text message. But from Gunny and I, we want to say thank you and simplify, and we're going to follow your mission and support you any way we can. And that a lot of that is just making that network, that connection,
Absolutely.
to get your story out there. So that's what we're going to do. And if me and Gunny can make a trip to Wyoming, we're coming.
Like I said, that invitation is a revolving open door, because there's plenty of opportunity to see all kinds of beautiful things out here in the mountains, as well as around. Because look
at that.
That was just last week. So, and I just got
one too.
Yeah. Yep. Early in the year yet.
Yes, sir. All right. Chris says he would donate a black lab pup to you in the spring.
So like next year?
You talking about this spring coming up, Chris? So next year? So Chris is up in Wisconsin. He works with Veteran Hunts for Heroes.
Okay.
Which their hats up there. He's not a veteran himself, but he's a patriot, what we call a patriot. What's going on, Mike Griffin on TikTok?
Well, let's just say this. If anybody wants to make any donations, like outside of monetary, like a dog or anything like that, then definitely reach out to us. Let's get a communication going via my email that should be, I think you got all that information available to everybody.
I'll send it to Chris.
Yeah. And yeah, let's do that, because we're definitely, we've got a mission, and now not only do we have a mission to keep going, but we have a legacy to honor since Isaac is no longer here. And we can't tarnish the gift that he gave me and the healing that he gave me by not seeing this through,
Yes, sir. All right, my friend. Well, we're going to drop you down into the green room. If you got things to do, if you need to go ahead and go, that's awesome. If not, we'll chit chat at the end of the show here.
Okay. I'll stand by.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yep. Simplify. And again, I'm grateful for the opportunity. Thank you.
Hey, you're very welcome. Ladies and gents, how cool was that, bro? How freaking cool was that? I knew it was going to be jam packed with a lot of information there, right? I knew just from following his story, on TikTok and everywhere else that I've been following him. It just super cool. So if you have dogs that you want to donate, you can go to his website, which is Isaac Loves His Human, HOOMAN.org. So go, and it's in the chat. It's also here on the screen. That's Isaac Loves His Human.org. So go there, check them out, see what they're doing, and donate if you can. So Gunny's not here, so we're not going to do Gunny's words of wisdom. I heard a joke earlier today, and I'm debating whether or not to say it. And I'm hoping I can say it right, where it's funny, but I don't know. All right, here we go.
It's time for the joke of the day.
What do you get when you mix a hippopotamus, an elephant, and a rhino? Hell if I know. It was just a funny little joke. I thought it was pretty cool. Hell if I know. If you put them together, that's what it's called. All right, guys. You're not alone. Don't let your dark days win. Reach out, talk to somebody. We have your tribe, and you have a tribe. You got me, you got Gunny, you got all these people, right? Reach out right here. In the silence of your struggles, remember, though unseen, you are deeply held in the hearts of others. You're not alone. The uniform may come off, but the bond remains. And together we heal, together we rise, and together we carry each other forward. That's the key word there, together. Together we heal, together we rise, and together we carry each other forward. Hashtag be somebody's stranger or someone's stranger. Listen, we as humans, we're more apt to talk to a complete stranger than the ones we love the most. So if you're out and about and you see somebody and it looks like they're having a bad day, go up to them, say, "Hey, how you doing?" And if they give you the red flags, sorry, my internet was not working there for a second. If they give you the red flags, I'm okay, I'm hanging in there, I'm living the dream. That's the next hard question. How are you really doing? And be ready for that conversation. It could be a 5-minute conversation, could be an 8-hour conversation. You have to be ready for that conversation and just sit there and listen. Don't try to fix them. Sometimes we just need to get it out, right? We just need to let it out, let it go. So just sit there and listen. And then it takes a village, guys. We all have this little device right here, our phone, right? We all have that. That's your tribe. That's your village. Reach out to people that are in there. If you're struggling or if you're not struggling, just reach out to people that you haven't talked to. So close your eyes, or actually open your contacts first. Close your eyes, scroll, stop. Whoever it lands on, give them a call. You might not have talked to them in 10 years. Give them a call. If they don't answer, leave a message. Say, "Hey man, it's Willis. I hadn't talked to you in forever. I just was calling to check in on you, see how you're doing." You never know. Your voice could save that person's life. And then once you leave the voicemail, do it again. Call the next person. So just reach out, man. Take a village. All right. So this is our community partners here. First, we want to talk about SOFmissions.org. Man, this organization, when I talk about nonprofits, the mom and pops, the grassroots, not the big three, this one here is top tier. And I'll tell you why they're top tier. When you go down to Tampa for their 5-day retreat that they have down in Tampa, dude, you feel like family. As soon as you get there, like you feel like you belong there. I mean, they treat you amazing. And then you get to meet the 11 other people that are there to go through the course with you, the retreat with you. And I will tell you, you have some classroom studies while you're there where you do it as a group, and then you break off and you do your individual stuff because everything's individually catered to you. your mental health therapy that you go through while you're there, your massage therapy you go through, your chiropractor you go through, all of this stuff that you go through while you're there. And I'm talking top tier doctors that run this run this clinic there. They are phenomenal. Some of them work with like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The main doctor, I can't, you just have to check it out for yourself. So check out sofmissions.org. 365 days later, after you leave that clinic, up to 365 days, they follow up with you. They check in on you, make sure you're doing all right. Up next, heroesmediagroup.com. Man, Adam Bird and his team at HMG have been phenomenal to the Homefront SitRep family for the last 3 years. If I need anything, all I gotta do is reach out to Adam, say, "Hey, man, I need this," or "Can you help me with this?" or "What do you think about this?" And he's just phenomenal. So check out heroesmediagroup.com. Up next is reachacrossamerica.org/radio. Homefront SitRep has been on Reach Across America radio for 2.5 years now. So this episode will be airing on Thursday night, 11 p.m. Eastern on Reach Across America radio. So you can go to reachacrossamerica.org/radio and do the listen live link, or you can download the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, or Audacity app and listen and search the word Reese, and you can find us there. Up next, man, same flag, same oath.com. Listen, this is a small veteran to own t-shirt company out in outside of Katy, Texas. They've knocked it out of the park with our merchandise. Let me show you this, man. Where is it at? There it is. Let's bring that up to the stage. So this is our merch. If you go to homefrontsitrep.com, you can go here to merch. You can see our Marine It Down shirt, which is our co-branded shirt. The hat is with Elite Engraving, which we'll talk about next. We got our Homefront SitRep logo tee. Then we have the spicy pineapple. Then we have our You're Not Alone. We also have Be Someone Stranger. And then our Red Friday shirt. If you don't have any of our merch, you need to go get you some. The quality is amazing. I have this one here, the green Homefront SitRep logo, and it's a Gildan, and it's the lightweight material. I love it. It's just phenomenal. So go check out homefrontsitrep.com and click on the merch and order you some. And then when you get it, make sure you tag Homefront SitRep in a picture. Up next is Elite Engraving. They did our hats, our Red Friday patch hats, which you can see here. This is a Richardson 112. It's my favorite style of hat is the Richardson 112. So go get you a hat as well. That's also co-branded. We get 20% of each sale of the hat. So go check out eliteengraving24.com. Gunny is obsessed with Elite Engraving. I think he's ordered like 10 different hats from there so far. And he's got more coming. So go check out eliteengraving24.com. Or you can just go to Homefront SitRep and click on the hats and you can order it from there because it links you right to their site. Up next is Valor Coins and Pins. The grandsons, Brent and Brian Casey are the grandson. If you're a Marine and you don't know Herschel Woody Williams, something's wrong with you. Well, Brent and Brian Casey are the grandsons of Medal of Honor recipient Herschel Woody Williams, who was a Marine. He loved every Marine he came in contact with. And once he came in contact, you were in his circle. That's just the type of man that Woody was. He was amazing. So check out Valor Coins and Pins. They do pins like this. They do challenge coins. And the good thing is if you order, they don't sell them individually. But if you order, say you were a gunny in the Marines, like this one here, that's Sam's. If you were a gunny in the Marine Corps and you wanted to do your own personalized coin, they can do that for you. They have local warehouses or local people they use, and they also use overseas as well, just depending on who's going to get them here and cheapest. So check out valorcoinsandpins.com. Up next, RDC Shoes, man. This is a small veteran-owned, Marine Corps veteran-owned shoe company. They've got the Patriot and the Glory. The Patriot shoe is the blue field with red and white bars for the tongue. They have two gold eyelets on either side of the shoe to support Gold Star families. So that money goes to, I think 10% goes to the Woody Williams Foundation, which they do Gold Star monuments across the country. So check out rdcshoes.com. Up next is HomeFront SitRep.com. Go check it out, man. There's all kinds of great information on there. I need to update it. If you know anybody who loves working on websites, send them my way. I'm a one-man show most of the time when it comes to working on the website stuff. If you know somebody, send them my way because I could use the help on keeping the website updated. But other than that, guys, it's that time of night, my friends. I want to thank everybody over on TikTok, Mike and Betsy and everybody that's came, Echo 3 Whiskey, or Echo Whiskey 0311 over on TikTok, and Betsy Ross and everybody else that's been in and out through this live tonight. Thank you, TikTok, for not banning me. I am live on YouTube. That's why I'm streaming it from YouTube. So don't ban me again, TikTok. But anyway, like we always say on Homefront SitRep, stay safe out there. We got your six. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed the show.
Suggestions and comments are always welcome.
Cannot wait to have another great show with y'all.
Don't forget you can find HomeFront SitRep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Stay safe out there. I got your six.